New business number 8, discussion and necessary action regarding discontinuance of spring cleanup program and implementation of 2-trip pass system per residential recycling cart to be issued to residents who pay the residential recycling cart fee.
Director Lang?
This was discussed at the Board of Public Works meeting a week ago for Monday. And this year we've continued to have problems with the spring cleanup, with people putting out things that were hazardous, putting out e-waste, putting things in plastic. Even though we try to get a lot of information out there, people just continue to disregard. So this year, what we essentially did is tagged a lot of stuff and we started to charge people for the e-waste, which our phones rang off the hook. But the issue was that a lot of people didn't generate it. It was generated outside the community. They saw an empty lawn, they saw other stuff out there, and so they just decided to dump it on people's lawns. We got a lot of phone calls from people. The Realty Association called me, and I believe they called one of our aldermen and discussed that they were trying to sell homes, and it looked like we just suffered a major catastrophic flood. We arranged during Mother's Day, the Cudahy prom, communions, you name it. So, and the city looks awful, and even though you tell people not to put it out before the Saturday of when they're supposed to, people start generating stuff 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time, and then we get phone calls. But essentially, we can't support, our recycling fund can no longer support the spring cleanup. It gets more and more expensive. Trucking costs have gone up about 40% this year. Our hauling and with our 100-yard dumpsters has gone up considerably. And so the program is expensive. It generates a lot of waste from outside the community and generates a lot of problems. Also, there are a lot of people or a lot of properties who do not pay a recycling fee, and this is funded through the recycling fee, the cart fee. There's a lot of them who take advantage of the program and never pay for the program. So, brought it to the Board of Public Works and discussed different options, and one of the options that seems the fairest and amenable is to give a 2-trip pass. The maximum amount of the trip would be either a trailer or a pickup truck load, and the individuals, the property owner could use it at any time. They would have to come to City Hall to pick up those tickets, as we call them, because we have to check to make sure that they're actually paying a recycling fee. And then they could use it at any time during that year for yard waste or junk or anything like that. So we got the Board of Public Works voted on it, and unanimously that's what their vote was to, or recommendation was to discontinue the curbside spring cleanup pickup and to go ahead with the 2-trip pass for 2016. Are there any questions?
I got a couple.
I do too, go ahead.
My first question is, with the state budget looking to cut back on their recycling fund, do we know how that would impact this program, or if it will impact the city or anything else?
Well, it's impacting, we lost $65,000 out of the program, I believe it was 2 years ago. It definitely had an impact. The recycling fund is a little bit different than the tax. However, it's a fee. We no longer can increase that fee without being penalized. So we can't generate it through the recycling fee. We were trying to raise a reserve account because that would fund a garbage truck that we use for leaf collection and fall pickup. And we are now working on that reserve. So if we lose another $65,000 like they are talking about, yes, it will greatly impact running of the transfer station and many of the other programs that we provide.
So wouldn't this then be a little bit premature to promise even a 2-ticket pass to the dump and then not know exactly how it's going to impact us? Promise one thing and then have to change it again once we figure out what the budget does?
Well, I guess, I think the board was looking at it that, you know, to get rid of something that people had for many, 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 many years, that service, and not provide something. I believe their position is that they would use the reserves and then we would deal with it. If in fact we lost the recycling funding, we would deal with it in another way. It may mean that the transfer site fees need to go up to cover some of the costs. But I think we'll cross that when we hear from the state.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Alderperson Chisholm next. I'll come over here. I just want to interject something here. Is that Alderman Reynolds? One of the concerns that I had as a mayor is that, you know, one, the city of Cudahy is the only suburban municipality other than the city of Milwaukee that offers this, the program. But one of the concerns I had that I expressed with Director Lang was that the point that she made, when we're taking something away, how can we give something back in return to at least accommodate the citizens? Thus, you know, the Board of Public Works agreed with me where I said, you know, give them 1 or 2 dump tickets to try and counteract this, if you will, giving them something back in return. Back on the question of the recycling fund, what Director Lang said is true, but it's not exactly true, is that we still have room to maneuver in certain areas when it comes to raising the recycling fee. There are certain things when it also looks in that calculation is dead prior to 2005. If you remember, when I brought before the council the elimination of the dump fee, that would have, you know, it resulted in an increase in the recycling fund to cover that additional cost. On the other point, we don't know what the state's going to do to us next. If we take this away from our citizens and do nothing, and the state doesn't clobber us, well, then we've just taken a service away from our citizens. If we give them something in return, and we don't do at least 2 dump free tickets, and the state clobbers us again with the reduction in $67,000, that we just have to deal with and figure out. It's unfortunate, but as they continue to take stuff away, our hands are tied.
It just seems to me that we promise them one thing and then all of a sudden we take that away again too. So we're kind of potentially hitting them twice, whereas if we table this for a month, see where the budget goes in a couple weeks here, and then come back to address all the needs all at one time.
The council could do that if they chose to do that tonight. You know, again, based on what shakes out of the budget, because again, as the mayor, if I had the magic answer, Alderman, as far as what they're gonna do,
Yeah.
I would have played the super cash tonight before I came here, because I just don't have a feel, I can't tell you until that budget comes out. All right, I'm gonna go with Alderman Chisholm, and then I'm gonna go to Alderman Lickwood.
I just want to say, whoever came up with all of these bullet points hit the nail on the head. So many of these things keep happening and cause a lot of distress. And the 2 tickets, I think, is a great idea, because maybe some people don't need them and what have you. My question would be, though, is instead of having people come down to City Hall for the tickets, why wouldn't you just put the 2 tickets when you send out the tax bill? Why wouldn't the 2 tickets just go in there instead of making people come down? I'm trying to find the easiest way so that people don't have another thing to complain about. Now I have to come down to City Hall and I've got to do this. Now, you know,
I would refer to Mary Jo and Carolyn on the answer.
I'm just
and
asking,
Sure, and then- no,
because
that's
somebody
fine.
will ask
No.
me.
No, that's
I
fine.
can tell you why they can't go in the tax bill, and that's, we send our tax bills out for printing, folding, and mailing, and they would have no way of knowing which tax bill has a recycling fee on it and which doesn't. It just goes through a machine. And so we have pre-folded things that they pick up, which also goes through a machine. So people who do not have recycling carts or pay recycling fees would get these tickets then. Because
Okay.
they would go in every tax
Okay, I'm just
bill.
asking
Sure,
because.
no, and that's fine, it's a
Okay.
good, Alderman Chisholm, it's a good question to ask, thank you. All right, we go Alderman Lickwood.
As the, I think she still has one more question.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
we
fine,
good?
I'm
We'll-
fine.
Thank you.
When we discussed this at the Board of Public Works level, we had also talked about out of the 6,600 eligible, it's like 6,600, correct?
6150.
6,150, out of the 6,150 eligible, you know,
Parties.
units out of the carts, not everybody's gonna use it. You know,
Correct.
so I mean, so
Correct.
like, you know,
Correct.
like if all of a sudden you got like somebody who's getting it and let's say they're elderly, or they generate nothing. You know, they've got the same furniture for, 30 years and
Okay.
they hardly have any yard waste or anything like that. Now they have 2 tickets, they might give it, let's say to their neighbor or something like that, where now that person has 4, where like normally they just wouldn't have used it because they're not even using
Okay.
it now. You know,
Okay.
we just didn't wanna throw 6,150 tickets
Okay.
out there, you know, potentially have 6,150. This way, the people who are actually gonna use it have to come down, you know, and they'll, you know, prove that they're actually have a recycling cart.
Okay.
Alderman Hollenbeck.
And to your point, Alderman Ross, I pushed for 3 tickets. And the concern was, well, the uncertainty of what the state's going to do. And the compromise was, you know, to be at the 2.
Which is understandable. What were the discussions as far as people who don't have trucks and it's not convenient? Exactly. I mean, this is a service, and for me, this was one of the most phone calls I've received out of any program, and it just seems to be coming in hot and heavy right now. I know without a truck, it's difficult for me to get stuff to the dumps. I couldn't even imagine other people.
Alderman Lakewood.
Well, we talked about it at the Board of Public, you know, Board of Public Works. Chances are, if you're elderly now, I mean, how do you get your recliner out there?
Well,
You know, I mean, the 80-year-old lady or the guy is not carrying their recliner out there.
True.
He's got a neighbor or something where,
But
you know, I mean, you're gonna have to try to find somebody, you know, to give you a hand. You know, I mean, it's gonna be
It's-
community building, this and that. I mean, it's the, you know, it's like, okay, you get new furniture or something like that. Now it's the city of Cudahy's obligation to throw your stuff away.
True, but
You
it's
know,
also
like, I mean, normally in most cities, you have to find somebody, you know, to come and get that, or you gotta pay Steinhoffels to take it away, or you gotta find a friend with, hey, I got this old furniture, I gotta get rid of it now.
yeah. But I mean, to me, it seems like a service that has been working for a long time, and even though it's become inconvenient at times, we're changing it hastily, it seems, and it's putting a lot of burden on people who might not be able to handle something like that. It's one thing to ask a neighbor to haul out a chair to the front of your house. It's another thing to ask a neighbor to ask another neighbor to ask his father to borrow his truck so that you can load it into a truck and take it down to the dump. I think that with this service being in place for so long and a lot of people relying on it, it deserves at least to bump it back another month, for one, to see what the state's gonna do, and 2, to have more continued discussion on this from neighbors, because just today, people were calling me that they just saw on the agenda today that this item was up for discussion. So I think that this is moving far too quickly, and I think it's going to ultimately
Well,
end up.
I mean, you can offer something.
Yeah,
up right now.
I-
mean, it's been
right,
discussed
if-
for hours at the Board of Public Works.
True, but I mean, as far as me, I haven't heard anything other than what we heard today, as far as discussion goes. So if it were up to me, I would like to make a motion that we table this till next July's meeting. By then, the state should have their budget, we should have a better idea of how much this is gonna impact. Maybe we can offer 2 tickets, or maybe we can offer 3. Maybe we can't give them
Even if
anything.
you offer 3, you're saying right now people can't get there with 2.
Well, I'm just saying,
Why
if,
don't you go to 1?
I would personally be in favor of not adjusting this program at all whatsoever, unless we are stiff-armed by the state that says, listen, you're getting cut, there's nothing you can do about it. Then we have to find, you know, for me, I would be able to vote more in confidence knowing exactly what the future will bring for us.
Okay. Did I hear you say that you made a motion to table it until July?
Till to the next July's meeting.
Okay. Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll put a second, or the reason is that I have trouble with this trying to selective picking people for pickup trucks. The elderly are not responsible for providing pickup trucks. The ADA rules are being violated there.
No. Point of order, point of order, point of order.
You convinced me other than that.
Point of order. In the Board of Public Works, it was determined the amount of junk that you can provide is the equivalent of a pickup truck full of stuff. If they have a smart car, if they have a Taurus, you can use your ticket for that. We're not making anybody go out and get an F-250 or
It says
anything.
pickup trucks.
That is the
Well, they're
amount
just
of
using
junk.
that as a term for a size, but nobody's
That's
saying that.
just because
That's the
originally-
limit, right,
it-
that's the
right.
limit.
Here's how the tickets originally were gonna go. It was gonna be like 2 $5 tickets. Well, if you have 2 cars, that's 2 trips. Somebody who has, let's say, a minivan, Jerry, gets 1 trip with his 2 tickets. he would only be able to do one, you'd be able to do two in your car or his car or whatever. So we just did 2 tickets, no dollar amount on them, you get 2 tickets, and you can pack the gills of a pickup truck worth of
Or your
stuff.
smart car,
Or
or
a
whatever.
trailer, or a trailer, if you wanna come in with your
Okay.
smart car all piled up, if it's the equivalent of like a standard pickup truck bed, that is your amount. You can't come in with a rider truck and say, yes, 1 ticket, I got the 48 footer here, you know. That's what the pickup truck is. We're not mandating anybody to go.
And I understand that, and that's, I totally understand. My point was that if you have stuff that requires a pickup truck to take to the dump, I would say a good portion of our citizens do not have that or do not have easy access to that, whereas this service provided a great deal of assistance for them who otherwise would not be able to get that to the dump conveniently.
So are you tabling this till next month or
Yeah, until the July meeting.
next month?
Right, until next month's meeting. That's the motion on the floor. A motion to table this item until the July common council meeting. That was a motion by Alderman Morales, second by
So
Alderman
then where are the
Marche.
amendments going, the changes, you guys gotta come up with the changes, we're not talking about this at the Board of Public Works again.
Right,
That would be
again,
fine.
it would just be tabled and brought back to the council at the July meeting.
Right.
Okay, again, ultimately, it's up to the council to make the final determination.
We had one clarification right now, he said you take the cars too for that ticket now, that's a clarification.
That was never a doubt,
Okay,
that's what you understood it
okay,
as.
all right, any further discussion? I'm gonna ask for a roll call vote on this one, please. On a roll call. 1, 2, 5 voting yes, 3, 4 voting no. The motion, the item is tabled until the July meeting. Thank you. Item number 9.
Discussion and necessary action regarding mayor's reappointment of Dr. Bob Champeau to the Board of Health for a term ending June 30th,